Welcome to the episode 11 Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I am going to be breaking down the Love is Blind UK reunion. There's there's a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to process. There's a lot of emotions going on through my body right now. And we're going to dive into all of them. And you know what? I think you know before you even watch this episode exactly where this emotional trauma that is buried deep in my soul after watching this reunion. But nonetheless, we're going to go in order of what went down in the reunion. Okay. At the altar, we saw three couples get married: Jasmine and Bobby, Benai and Nicole, and Stephen and Sabrina. We were going to get an update about what went down after the camera stopped. Of course, we still had Freddie and Catherine, Ollie and Demi and Tom Maria. What was happening with them? Are they still together? Well, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead and by saying this first. I'm a little flustered still. Just got done watching this reunion. So if I'm a little flustered, I'm sorry, guys, okay? But let's talk for just a minute here. Okay? First off, when the show opens, you see Steven and Sabrina. They're not even sitting together. Jasmine and Robbie are sitting together. Nicole and Benai are sitting together. Fuck, even Catherine and Freddie are. Even Tom and Marie were sitting together. What? Steven and Sabrina not sitting together was brought up, but we're going to talk about it later. No, we could address the elephant in the room right away, but you know what? I digress. We'll talk about it in a minute. Demi and Ali. Demi asked to speak up. She said, Ollie's a good guy, but not my guy. She breaks down that Ollie just isn't that dude, and she moved in with her parents. She said she was a shell of herself on the show, but the entire process kind of created the version that she's been looking for. She created Demi 2.0. And to that, I will say, yes, queen, because that was awesome. Like, the evolution of Demi, the evolution of the person, the evolution of the character that we see from step by step by step, all the way leading up to the altar, was a completely different person from we seen at the beginning of the show. I appreciate that she appreciates what Ollie did give her, whether it might not have been what she would hope that she got out of this entire thing. And I loved it. I really genuinely loved watching her grow, and I love that. Ollie said that the chats leading up to that day, they knew it wasn't their time, which is kind of shocking because his reaction was like, why? You know what I mean? So that was kind of weird. Her having the endometriosis was brought up, and how she appreciated how Ollie reacted very well to that. But then, of course, the reaction from social media and the people around her have been very supportive, and the endometriosis community has been very supportive of her. I love that. I loved her speaking up. It was such a powerful moment. She said watching about was a proud moment. Catherine is brought up. The battle over Ollie was fun in the pods. Um, Ollie brings up that he stands attested to the announcement that him not being attracted to Demi. He said the online backlash was ridiculous. He said his typical type is Demi and not Catherine. Um, Demi interrupts and calls Catherine out for saying Demi and Ollie would not work outside the pods. Demi is on fire. Like, she was on fire throughout this entire thing. She said accountability is key. Catherine apologizes to her and said she didn't mix her words. Well, Jasmine stands up. We know Jasmine ain't afraid to stand up for Demi. Like, hell yeah. Jasmine stands up and defends and roasts Catherine as well. And then we get a little bit of a tea. What about little Ollie and Charlotte? Charlotte. So we saw that he was quite smitten by Charlotte at the mixer. There was a reason why she was brought up. I was confused at first, but the two have explored their connection outside the pods. Charlotte got to speak up, saying that the things are complicated, but watching the show together has been tough, and they've been exploring their connection, and they've been supporting each other through this process. Yeah, watching this back is not easy, especially you're watching back, you fell in love with the person, and of course, it didn't go the extra mile. Definitely has to be hard. Whew. I'm gonna try not to get emotional about this, but we talk about Stephen and Sabrina. Um, Obviously, it's brought up they're not sitting together. She said she fell in love with Stephen in the pods, that he supported her quitting her job. He would be supportive of her, that the long distance, that they would visit each other, Belfast, London, London, Belfast, they'd split their time. And she said he wasn't there to support him. And he never tried to split time between Belfast and London. He spoke up, he said the long distance was tough. He said they lost their spark and their communication was bad. Sabrina said she tried to make it work. She traveled 7 times to Belfast, and he only traveled to her twice. Or traveled 7 times to London, and he traveled to Belfast twice. She said he didn't make an effort. She said she tried to make things, she bought things, she supported him, got rental cars, got him to the gym, all of these things at at his place and her place to try to make it work. Like she literally roast his ass. Said he didn't communicate, he didn't text much or call much. So when they were separate, it was like they weren't even together. He didn't make an effort to work and just roasted. Now he said a lot of things are not facts. He said she isn't telling the truth and doesn't recognize who she is right now. And she said, "You haven't seen me in 8 months." He said he isn't speaking up because of the respect that he has for her. She said he didn't respect her. And 2 days before he was supposed to go to Belfast for Christmas, he bailed and said shit happens. But he said it's not true. She said Sabrina said the pod episodes were hard to watch because she thought she met a person. Stephen said the first 4 episodes he watched 3 times and cried every time. He breaks down saying the outside world didn't mesh well after the show. She said she tried to be everything she thought. She tried to be everything he needed to make it work, and he just did it. She said, "You said your vows, and you aren't a man of your word." And he was about to get feisty, and they got cut off. I will say this. Big fan, Matt and Emma. This is my petition. Have them host Love is Blind USA, UK, Dominican Republic, whatever. These two were great. I thought they were great hosts. I didn't love they cut them off, but in order for it, instead of getting it really hostile and crazy, I didn't mind the cutoff there. Jasmine and Bobby, 2 days after they got married, he packed his shit and went straight to London. Did you hear that, Stephen? Packed the shit and moved. You can open a gym anywhere. You know what? I need to rewind for a minute. Stephen and Sabrina, I had all the hope in the world. My favorite couple since Brett and Tiffany. They were authentic, they were real. It was just working. I believe that we are owed compensation from Netflix for the emotional trauma that they caused us by letting us fall in love with Stephen and Sabrina, knowing damn well that it was going to fall apart. Broke my heart. Just broke my heart. Back to Jasmine and Bob. They have worked together to get to where they are. They are very happy. These two are happily married. We get the cute little montage of the first year as a couple together. Loved it. Cute. They worked very hard, and now they're living in their dream home together. Love that for them as well. It's jokingly brought up that Jasmine is a firecracker, and then of course her mom Marissa is brought into the fold. They talk about what happened and blah blah blah. But then mom gave the seal of approval, saying 110% approval for Bobby now, and they are planning to have kids and kids soon. They're trying right now. Little Love is Blind babies. You see that, Vanessa? They brought up Love is Blind babies, and Emma didn't. You see how that works? Hello. Maybe learn a thing or two. These two, again, I'm surprised. I was surprised this entire season. But as things progressed, as the season progressed, as their relationship progressed, and I'll tell you what, I was not sold on Bobby and Jasmine until their wedding day. On their wedding day, blown away. I was convinced on their wedding day when they said their vows, when she said her vows, these two were meant to be together. I love the couple. I wish nothing but the best. I hope they have nothing but success. Tom and Marie. Maria. Okay. Post-wedding, Tom said their differences were too big and they decided to part ways. She said his words felt like it was disrespectful to her family. Tom brings up that he said watching the episodes was rough and did say some of the ugly behavior made him feel bad. Tom brings up being emotional and the experience. He said the experiment showed his flaws. Um, the chat with Tom and Marie's mom was brought up, said it made her mad rewatching it because her mom was so sweet, giving blessings, and he said something towards her and her family, talking about the raising of the kids and stuff like that. She did bring up that she never said that he wanted him to pay for everything, pay for the house or anything like that. That was never something that was said. But the big thing is, like, I understand Tom's worry. I mean, we live in a new world, in a new generation. It's not, yes, you want your daughter to be wined and dined and you wanted to the seat pull out and to pay for dinner. But like this is also 50-50 world now. You know what I mean? It's okay. If I bring $100,000 to the table and my wife brings $100,000 to the table, we have $200,000 in the pot. It's not 100,000, it's not 100,000, 50,000. Like we're bringing it all together as a unison. It doesn't make Tom any less of a man for wanting those expectations for his kids. At the flip side, it doesn't make Maria's expectations wrong either for wanting her way. Different backgrounds, different cultures. It happens. It didn't work, and I'm not surprised. He dances around apologies, but it was kind of short and sweet. There was not a lot here that was talked about. It's kind of surprising to me. But of course, Natasha is brought up. They asked Tosh in the alternate universe what would have happened. She said it's been a year and she's been watching the show back. It's been nice to have that closure to kind of move on. Tom said the mixer was uncomfortable, but they have contacted each other. Contacted her like a week before the reunion just to contact and communicate, just because they were going to see each other. Tosh said she brought up the L word, and it was in the past tense. I don't really know if I believe that or not. I'm just going to say. Maria and Tosh say that they're good together friends. Host Emma says they look so great together. Matt brings up the makeup comment where he said a slide about his job. Tom said he has to learn. There's things that he has to learn about life and about what he has to say, and he has to choose his word wisely. I think that it's something that he has to grow and kind of lean into. They asked how they feel about each other now. Maria said we had a good time and said they are okay. Not exactly. I wouldn't say they're exactly friends. I don't know if they'll ever even talk to each other again, type of thing. Benaya, Nicole, yippee ki yay! They're beautiful. They're smitten. Their first year of marriage. It was cute. Whatever. I don't care. Emma said, uh, interesting back and forth between these two. Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm happy for them. Sabrina, Bliss type of, so not Sabrina, Bliss, Zach, and Irina situation all over again. Very happy for them. All right, sorry, got off track there for a minute. Now Emma introduces the boy who just wants love from a girl, and Sam has arrived, which was a great punchline there. Sam said things have been tough for him over the last few weeks because of the online backlash. He said, but it has made him stronger. He said his comments about not being able to pick up Nicole were just out of gist. It was out of his nerves, and he didn't mean them. Nicole doesn't even really kind of address him, but she appreciates his Benaya having her back and saying and letting her know what Sam eventually did say. Jasmine's obviously brought into the conversation because she had a connection with Sam in the pod. She said she never felt right with Sam, and she went with her intuition. Emma brings up the "I think I love you" thing. And I'll tell you what, this was the only thing that I did like that Sam did say. Sam said his words were mixed, and he meant to say that "I think I'm falling in love with you." He said it felt if things were awkward, then he wasn't ready to say "I love you" yet. I don't hate that. I'm not mad about that at all because it's honestly like it's early in the process. We're trying to think things out. But it's like, hey, I'm falling in love with you so much that I'm ready to take this next step. Now, do I believe he actually meant that? Absolutely not. I do not believe he meant that one bit. Okay. I'm not buying that bullshit. But that being said, who called off the engagement? Nicole said she had doubts about Sam. She told him she didn't want to go to Greece, and he didn't take that very well. But Naya said that he was over the moon about finding out about the split. Matt asked Sam why he felt the need to say Nicole wanted to sleep with him. He said he watched it back and didn't like it. Demi just screams across the stage and says, just apologize to her. Audience rants and raves, clapping galore. I love Demi. Again, Queen Demi to the rescue here. Matt and Emma were like 10 times better than Nick and Vanessa. Like 10,000 times better. Like it was just a breath of fresh air to really see them kind of do their thing, just kind of be the the different, unique, that actually cared about the experiment, that cared about the couples, the way Emma was like upset about Sabrina and Stephen, the way that she was authentic and just happy about the couples and happy about like she was with like Tom and Maria, you guys look so good together. It was just authentic and real. It felt good watching them. Matt and Emma are the best. Catherine and Freddie. Catherine said they aren't together. Freddie said it was difficult. They seemed to agree things weren't in place for them to take the next step. She brings up the once a cheat, always a cheat thing. She said she didn't mean it like that and wasn't holding it against him. They talk about the earrings. She gave them back to him. She was grateful that he gave them to her, but she kind of got her hopes up. His sister is in the crowd. They brought up the conversation. She said she stands by the advice she gave Freddie. She said she cried watching him on the telly. I love whenever they say the telly. I watch Freddie on the telly. She said she had cried watching him on the telly, and then felt like Freddie was different when they came back from the retreat. Even I'll say this: Catherine stood up and agreed with this and said that she felt the same way, and that it was like mutual. And I love that. And this was like the entire thing was cool. Freddie said they will stay friends forever. She said thank you because he thought they just kind of had this great experience. She's a better person because of him. And she said never change because he will make a girl happy. I loved it. I love the dynamic here. It was fantastic. Now on the T side of things, Catherine's side of things, it wasn't brought up at the reunion, but it was brought up in a recent interview that she said she didn't. Although Catherine, Cat, didn't connect with Jake Singleton Hill in the pods, they did connect in the real world. She said, I am seeing someone with the pods. I'm with a guy. I'm with a guy with a dog, and the dog lives with us. She joked. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. So Jake was one of the people that did get engaged, but his relationship didn't work. So while Kat and Freddie got engaged, I don't see the relationship faltered once they met at the altar. Jake, meanwhile, also got engaged, but wasn't featured on the show. After filming Wrapped, Kat got in touch with him. His journey was very, very rough in here, like the way he was treated, but I reached out to him. I hadn't seen him because I only see Freddie and the couples on the retreat. Then I saw him on social. I was like, oh, that Jake. And I wonder if he's the one from the show. She said she slid into his DM. They talked about their pod experience. They kind of hit it off. He was at first, he was like, wait, aren't you married? She said, funny story because it was what would have been 2 weeks after that. So I was like, well, no, we FaceTime. We were on FaceTime for about 5 hours that evening. We spoke every day for 5 weeks. She continued. Then we went and go and visit him for the weekend. Now we live together with a dog. I will say this. She's sliding into this man's DMs 2 weeks. I didn't realize that until the first time I saw that. She say, let me re-see this. Funny story because it was what would have been 2 weeks after the wedding. So I was like, well, no. That's interesting. 2 weeks after the wedding, we were at the altar. You were feeling quite smitten by Freddie, but now we moved in. Man, I gotta check this timeline out. Somebody's got to explain this timeline to me. But that being said, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on the reunion. What did you guys think of everything that went down? Are you equally heartbroken about me with Stephen and Sabrina? Because I am really heartbroken over that. What did you think of the rest of the reunion? Did you like Matt and Emma as much as I did? If so, let me know in the comments below. Are you excited for a season 2? Because I know I am. Well, folks, we're going to have to find something else to watch. If you're not watching The Anonymous on the USA Network, you're really missing out on a really good reality show. I do know The Circle is right around the corner and ready to return. But without further ado, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. And we'll be back soon.